What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Marie. I recently moved back to London, England at the age of 57 to start a new chapter. So on this channel, I'm basically sharing my experience of what it's like to start over and build a new life. So in today's video, I thought I'd do something a little different. I'm calling it like a casual vlog where I'm just, sharing what I got up to this past week. I was out and about doing, things that I would do in normal everyday life, but we are doing it in London. So if that sounds interesting to you, you're curious to what I got up to, just keep watching and we'll get into it. But before we get into it, first let me say thank you for being here. Thank you for your awesome comments, your likes, your subscribes, and also thank you to the people that are still welcoming me here to London. I guess as you're discovering my videos, it's very much appreciated. Now let's get into it. So I'm going to kick it off with Sunday. I went out, y'all. Yes, on a Sunday, I went to a house jam. I'm a big lover of house music, soulful house music, and there was this event going on at the BBE store, or Barely Breaking Even. If you're a house head, you'll maybe recognize that label. But Victor Duplay, who I knew as a singer, didn't know he was a DJ, he was going to be at this event among some other DJs. So I met up with a friend of my sister's, but before I got to the venue, she was coming from a bit of a distance. I'm like, I need some food. We need some food before we go dancing. So I found this cute little Thai restaurant, and I needed to get something that I could eat the entire thing because there was no taking anything. There was no leftover taking situation going on. So I just had some satay chicken and with peanut sauce and some steamed jasmine rice. It hit the spot. It was tasty. And then away I went. And then we got to the venue, went inside, and I totally felt at home. Like I felt like I was back in Toronto. I just walk up in the venue, the music's playing, and we just start getting our move on. We start getting the groove on. And just, it was a nice way to see how the Brits get down to house music, One of the things that I was super stoked about moving here, aside from the travel, was the music scene, because I know there's some good music that comes out of England, and I was excited for that. So let me just share with you a little bit about how the night went. OLIVEDA was on the bill as well. He just showed up out of nowhere and I didn't even know he was going to be there. So that too was a nice surprise. So we stayed there for about 3 hours and then parted ways. And that was my Sunday night, my first official outing in London. Monday was a bit of a rain day, not even a bit, who am I kidding? It poured down cats and dogs on Monday, so I wasn't leaving the house. I just stayed in and was just on my computer working and stuff like that. Nothing exciting to report. But moving on to Tuesday, I met up with a friend again. She got us tickets to the Carrie James Marshall exhibit that was at the Royal Academy of Arts. Now, I've never been in there, so this was an exciting new place to check out. And here's a little bit of what we saw. we checked out the exhibit, we went for lunch in the cafe on site. I mean, they have a members cafe, and then they also have a regular folks cafe, non-members. And after that, she lives in the King's Cross area, King's Cross, St. Pancras area. So there was a shopping area called Coal Drops Yard that I wanted to check out. And since that's right in her backyard, I went with her and she showed me where it was. And I walked around, and here's a little bit of what I saw. Moving on to Wednesday. Wednesday, I went to meet up with a childhood friend. Now, even though I said I don't have any memories of London, I don't, but the only reason I know that we were friends is merely from photographs. I don't remember any of that time at all. But I met up with him at a pub in the Highbury and Islington station area. And we were there for 4 hours just catching up because I hadn't seen him for a few years. I'd seen him probably about 5 years ago or so. So we had a good little catch up. And for a pub, it was a huge pub, 2 floors, very festive. Prices were cheap. And it was my first fish and chips sampling there. But yeah, we had a good time, and we'll probably catch up again next week and hang out. Thursday was another washout, and by washout, I mean another rain day because it just poured down all day pretty much, so we weren't leaving the house again. So let's just move right on to Friday. Friday, I wanted to check out this place called Books for Cooks. It's in Notting Hill, and a friend from back home sent me like a little post about it, a video clip. Apparently there's like a secret kitchen in there, and they just try out recipes from some of the books that are in the shop. And this meal, I think you can get like a 3-course meal for 10 or 12 pounds, and there's like no substitutions or anything like that. Like, the meal is what it is, take it or leave it, if you can get in, because apparently the queues can be a little bit long. So once they run out, that's it. Now, I don't know if when I got to the bookstore, I was supposed to ask the person behind the desk, is the secret kitchen still open? But because it was like probably around 3 o'clock by the time I got there and no queue, they were probably done for the day. But I know that Tuesdays is vegetarian day and Fridays are fish day. And for 10 pounds for a 3-course meal, you can't beat that. But since I was in the Portobello Road market area, I thought, well, while I'm down here, let's check it out again. So here is a little clip of the Portobello Road market. So this market could go on and on. I was there last year and I don't even think I went through the entirety of it. You can find just about anything and everything there. They have obviously shops along the sidewalk, and then they have the vendors that are on the streets with their tents selling various things from antiques to vintage clothing to jewelry to food. So if you live in the area, it's a great place to be. I did check out some of the vintage stores. If you love vintage clothing, that is the area to go to, in my opinion. But the prices still be high, y'all. I mean, vintage, the prices are high. So it's nice to look, but I really wasn't buying anything. I landed upon this little food vendor area and bought this, what do they call it? It's a Turkish gozlem, I think. It was like a wrap, basically a pressed wrap with spinach, feta, and chicken. It was delicious, but it was cold. Not the food, the weather. The weather was cold and wet, and it just wasn't the best day to be out there, but since I was in the neighborhood, I did. Also, I saw a jewelry vendor who happened to be from Toronto. Yeah, so I had to stop by. She had a little sign on her table, so we chit-chatted for a little bit, and I supported her business and bought this cute little necklace, which you can also add charms to, which I'll probably, on a next visit, buy a couple to add to it. After I went to the market, I went back to central London, but I always make the mistake. Note to yourself, especially on a Friday, central London and the subways, rush hour time, just madness. I know it can be like that in every city, but in London, madness. But I had a $10 coupon to use at Space NK, which is like another version, or I don't know if you want to call it a Sephora competitor, but it's the only big beauty outlet in central London aside from a department store. So I went to use up my coupon before it expired, and I bought this. This is a fragrance by Dead Cool. Now, I remember this brand from back in Sephora when I lived in Toronto, and I'm pretty sure I tried some of them and they didn't come up as very clean. I don't think all of them are, but this one is the Aura fragrance. They're genderless. There's no phthalates. There's no, well, at least in this one, no parabens. I think they're vegan and cruelty free. I just bought the travel size, and yeah. Yes, love this scent. So I may eventually invest in a bigger size, but I picked that up. And then because we ran out of vitamin D3, I had to go to my local health food store, which is Holland and Barrett, and pick some up because obviously in this area of the planet, during the fall winter, there's not a whole lot of sunshine, so we need a little help. And I learned my lesson from the last 2 years of having very low vitamin D3 and being tired that we weren't going to go there this year. So we're trying to get ahead of the game. This is 3,000 IUs per tablet. I'm going to be taking 2 per day. I know it says don't take more than it recommends, but because I am melanated and it's harder for the sun to penetrate my skin, we're taking 2 tablets a day to keep our vitamin D levels up and in check. After I left central London, actually, I was going to buy something for somebody who was homeless. They were on the sidewalk and it was rainy and stuff. And I thought, you know what, let me just see if I can buy a meal, some soup or something hot for him. And I went to a coffee shop, couldn't find anything there. And I thought, okay, let me go back to M&S and see if they have soup there and I can get him soup and a sandwich and a tea or something like that. Well, on my way back, he was gone. So I thought, okay. So then I got to the subway station that I normally get off at, and there was a guy who was sitting inside, but just down the stairs. And he just seemed like in such distress. I'm like, okay, let me see if I could buy something for him. So again, I went up and I went to the same coffee shop and I got him, I bought like a grilled cheese, had it heated up, a tea, some juice, and a cookie. And not even 10 minutes later, I went back to the same spot. He was gone and somebody else was in there. So I went to a couple different exits to see if the guy was still around. didn't see him, so I'm like, okay, well, I bought this, so I gave it to the person that was there with their dog, and it just really, it really, it really saddened me because I feel like no one should be living like that. And this is my little holiday, you know, message or whatever you want to call it. But I almost had to fight back tears because I feel like no one should be living in these conditions. No one on this planet should be homeless at all. No one should go without food at all. And even though I am still sorting myself out here, I'm still not working yet. I don't have my own place yet. So I'm obviously being conscious of my finances. I thought, you know what? I have like the basics, the bare essentials. You know, let me do something nice for somebody who really needs it. So I'm just saying this holiday season where everybody is buying the things, obviously it's your own life. You make your own decisions. You do what you want. But I hope this inspires you to, I don't know, just do a random act of kindness for somebody. Like, I don't really celebrate Christmas like I used to. Actually, I'm quite fine spending it on my own because in the past 4 years when I was working, by the time I got to Christmas Eve, I was exhausted. I would usually go to my aunt's on Christmas Day if she was doing something, but low key, if she wasn't doing anything, I was fine. I just make sure that I have my, you know, my food, my snacks, my drinks, or whatever. I have my music. I have, like, you know, TV if I want to watch Netflix or, you know, YouTube videos or whatever, that sort of stuff. But there's a lot of people that are going without this year and that have gone without the entire year. And Christmas, especially, is one of the toughest times of the year. I feel like this is the time of the year where a lot of people can fall into a depression. I feel like there's a lot of people who may, dare I say, unalive themselves because they're alone. They don't have any place to go. They don't have family. They don't have friends. They're out on the streets. And I know there's shelters, but I mean, even sometimes the shelters are completely booked, or for some people, they don't even feel safe in a shelter. So if you feel so inclined, you know, if you want to donate to a food bank, if somebody's having a toy drive and you want to donate, like, I think we all take for granted the things that we have, and I'm not diminishing what all of y'all might be going through because it might be a hard time out there for you. But one thing that I've started doing is keeping just change, loose change in my coat pockets. And if I come across somebody, whether it's like a busker, somebody who's singing, playing an instrument, and I feel like they're really talented, I want to give them something, I will. It's readily available in my pocket. Or if it's somebody who's homeless and, you know, they look like they could really use a blessing of some sort. At least if it's in my pocket, I don't have to whip out my entire wallet in public. I can just reach into my pocket and, you know, put some change in their cup or in their guitar case or whatever it is. So that's all I want to say about, you know, the holidays this year. If you're celebrating, great. Enjoy your time with friends and family. And remember, it's not always about the gifts. It's really more about having the time to spend with family because everybody is so busy in life that, you know, connecting with friends and family could often fall by the wayside. So that is all I want to say with that. But hopefully somewhere in there that inspires you to do a random act of kindness for someone this holiday season. All right, y'all. So that brings me to the end of this video, this kind of casual vlog. I mean, it might not have been anything of interest to some of y'all, but for me, I felt like it was like my first real, like, everyday kind of week. You know, I was out and about, I got my dance on, I saw an art exhibit, you know, I saw an old friend, caught up with an old friend, checked out a new area of the city. So yeah, it really was a fun week for me and made me feel more at home. So hopefully you enjoyed that, and that's all I have to report. So as usual, thank you for watching, and I shall see you on the next one.